Copyright 2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited, unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.
Okay, so the fourth part we talk about it, communication to your audience. So how we will implement a communication tool on our website. So we can create forums, blogs, and blogs collecting feedback, which allow comments. What's the problem of allowing comments? It could be negative, but what is the other problem of providing comments? The spam rate. So if you enable people to do comments on your blogs, one, it can be negative. Number two, it can be spam. So what I do against spam? I can use CAPTCHA, which is a, you know when they ask you like locate the buses and locate the bicycles and the squares, or you can basically ask a simple question: 1 + 1 =.
Yeah, right.
Because a robot or an automatic spammer will not be able to answer this question.
Right.
So we ask this question as simple as 0 + 0 = 2, and 0 + 1 and 1 + 0 and 1 + 1, like stuff like that. Make sense?
Does.
Now, there are people who would like to have forums, and the forums will look like discussion groups over your website. You can also host a group of Facebook or LinkedIn to your website. You can put the URL of it, and when people go there, they will be basically going directly to these particular forums. Okay. What is the implication of having and there's also
FAQs?
sorry?
Is FAQs a form of communication?
FAQs is a form of presence because it's a status, right? But if you want to have an active forum, you can also run surveys. How you run surveys? Using what? Plugins for surveys. So if you want to use your website to run surveys and to get plugins for surveys, it can be done the same way. And I know somebody who's building a survey tool, and he invested about maybe $12,000 for an app, while if you can do it on your website, it will cost you about $20 a month. And then you can call up the app inside your mobile, your website inside your mobile app. Make sense? Okay. The fifth element we talked about is inventory. What do you mean I will use my website for inventory?
Well, if you're selling seats to a course or a seminar or something like that, you might have only 30 seats available. So the seats are inventory, and as they're bought, then they count down to 0.
In my knowledge, in my concept here, I'm using this as inventory for my images, photos, and my material, not like inventory for merchants. So if we go to Facebook and we put all of our content on Facebook, what is the guarantee that Facebook will be around? There is 0 guarantee, because Google Plus is actually closing down in August.
Entirely?
Yes. They are looking in ways right now for people to download all of their content, because they are shutting down Google Plus. We don't know if they have something different or not. But there used to be a package called GeoCities, and GeoCities
Oh yeah.
used to host. I used to have lots of websites on it, and when Yahoo acquired GeoCities, we felt so happy. And then what happened to GeoCities? They shut down in 2003, completely. And this is surprising. Like, why did they shut it down?
Or did Yahoo shut them down?
Yeah, and Yahoo did not come up with an alternative, as far as we know. So you may want to consider on your website of having inventory. You may want to consider on your website to have a page where people can go and download your logos or your material. Like if you use normal photos for you, like I will be speaking on February 1st in Enchanted. You remember Mariana, the Enchanted?
Yeah, mystical enchanted moments.
I will be speaking there on February 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So what they ask me is, can we have a photo and the bio and stuff like that? So you may want to consider on your website to have photo or bio. You may want to consider on your website to connect with your employees, or with your partners. So if somebody needs some information from you, like yes, right now if we want to exchange of a logo, we go to the media of WordPress, and what we do, we put the logo there. So now we have a version of the logo. Make sense?
Yep.
Any questions so far? So in this session we started with the goals of a website is to have a presence, authority, credibility, attract lead, manage contact, selling. It can be delivery of a program, it can be communication tool, it can be also what? Inventory. You can have managed and unmanaged service, and we did not spend too much time on it. And then you have to achieve a website, you need to have a foundation. The foundation will be, first you need to have a domain name. What is the characteristic of a good domain name? No misspelling and less than or equal 10 characters. It's not because Wael Badawi is 4 and 6, okay? Why 10 characters?
So they don't screw up when they're typing.
Exactly. Is it a hard rule to have 10 characters
Yes.
or less?
Yes.
No, it's not a hard rule. It's recommended. So why is 10 character? Because when people type, they will always misspell the names, okay? So I'm lucky that my first name and last name will end up to be 10 characters, okay? So lucky. Happy. Anyway, the second part is the URL will have an extension. So how the URL will look like? I'm not sure why they used to call it www, because everything is, so www is the protocol. If you want to send an email, it will be email dot. If you want to send an FTP, which is file transfer protocol, it will be FTP dot. So www, which we can now augment or neglect, stand in the past time to be World Wide Web protocol, which is the HTTP. Now, you have the domain name, and then you have here the extension. So what is the best extensions you can use? Why is .com?
Because it's the most recognized in North America.
Because it's the most recognized as a commercial entity, not in North America. It's the most recognized as a commercial entity.
Really?
Because historically, and this historic data,
That's all it was.
the .edu means education institute. .gov means
Go.
government. .org means organization. .net means network. I don't know what this means, but network. .com means commercial entity. And then we have the extension of countries. So .uk means UK.
CA,
.ca stand for Canada.
.au,
.nz means
New Zealand,
New Zealand.
.au,
.eu. .eg, AU, which is Australia. .eg means Egypt. .sk means
no idea.
Saskatchewan.
no, Slovakia.
I knew that
Slo-
wasn't there.
Slovenia or Slovakia.
Probably
.sk.
Slovakia.
And so, and DM is Denmark, I believe. So we have different extensions. The safest, most widely used extension is what? .com. I will explain in the next session why do you may want to have multi extensions. Okay. So if you run a Canadian business, you will write as .ca. If you don't have a Canadian business, if you are outside Canada, will people recognize .ca as Canada?
Yes.
But you are not internationals, right?
No.
Now, what about commercial in UK? They call them .co.
All right.
So the .com, if you have .co, it means you most likely have a company in UK. So these human perceptions we cannot change. So if you go and say, yeah, you know what, I could not find the .com, and what I found is the .ca, or I will use it. Can you have a different URL which has 10 characters or less? 12 will not die, okay? 15 if they are under similar. So when your brand is actually 11. Okay?
April Tax Solutions is 16.
April Tax Solutions is 16, and always the question is solution or solutions.
I know.
Okay?
We have more than one solution, so. But I do have to articulate when I share that.
Okay, you may wanna, if you do these solutions and solution, you may wanna buy the solution and the targeted or pointed, which I will talk about it in the next session. Okay, you may wanna buy it. So you may have to be open. You must be open to invest in more than one URL. I do hold about maybe 400 of those, and it costs about $15 to renew each one a year.
You've got a 500?
About 400 of those. Okay.
I thought I was doing okay at 20.
It's based on how many business you run and how many companies you do and what you do. So
Yeah.
I have the one personally, which is about maybe 6 or so. I have the one for Win Your Brand, and then I have the Stand for Yourself. And Stand for Yourself, you can spell it with number 4 and your and you are and all combination of weird things. So you have to open up a little bit and say, will it worth spending $10 more or $15 more? I understand if you say $10 more here and $10 more here there. Mike was his accountant had said, you know, it's too much money will add at the end, right? Especially not all of us are good in math, but you have to consider, like, if you grow, how many you need to hold. And by the way, Badawi.com, I owned it for so long, and I slept for 2 days to renew it, and I lost it. Until now, it's for sale for 6 years. The guy wants $1,500, I believe, last time I talked to him. The guy from Lebanon. So you'll be surprised when you create, like Givology. They have lots of domains which people will take away. There is also people who will buy domains which has misspelling. The bottom line, the best practice for domain name is the domain name shall be good English spelling. You can use characters in it. You can use letters in it. It doesn't matter. You can use numbers in it. It doesn't matter. It should be .com, .net, .ca, .org is your own choice. We prefer to use the .com. If you have the .com, I will explain to you why you need to have the .NET and .org. You need to have at least 3 or 4, and the .ce in next session. The URL is the address for the home, and this is like a mobile home because you can host it in different places, right? So you can look at this is mobile home. The mobile home will have a foundation. The foundation will carry the CMS, and the CMS could be WordPress. In WordPress conditions, there are themes and plugins. Themes means what? How the website will look like. You can customize rooms. Yeah, you can go paint your room black wall. By the way, the color black is the fashion of this year for building for painting walls, which is funny.
Awful.
No, it's the image, the photos I see it for a black walls was actually amazing because they put this nice drawing on it. It's crazy, but black walls. So you have themes, and then you have to be careful of number of visitors because after maybe 10,000 visitors, the website can shut down. This is what usually Weebly and this. So if you build a traffic of 10,000 or 100,000 hits, Weebly can shut down, can say your website is not available. So you have to be careful of the bandwidth. The component on the website is very straightforward. You can have hyperlink to information. You'll have text, image, video, audio. There is nothing else. You can have programs. You can have scripts or programs, but nothing else. Okay, there's nothing else. So video and audio are very heavy in traffic, except in podcast. Audio and podcast is just download. However, video is heavy. So you may want to consider YouTube, Vimeo, OS. You may consider actually Google Drive also. So Google Drive can be one of these. Okay. So you may want to consider for the heavy documents and the document which is huge and they need more traffic to go outside your website just for optimization. However, if they are outside of your website, what does it mean? That they are limited protection from public. So people can actually download your videos. So individuals who are so picky and they don't want people to steal their videos, they will pay the money to host everything in private setting. I do know someone who was actually having a plugin to prevent people from copying from his website. So Deirdre will do. She shared it with me one time, but I don't remember it. It's a special plugin, and all what this plugin will do, it will protect anybody from copying from your website. You know, when you select, drag, and copy a block, you cannot do this to the website. Okay? So, any questions here? Then, if you want to create your website for presence, so when we talk about presence, so for website for presence, you need to have a URL. You can submit it to search engines. You can submit your website for different directories like associations, societies, yellow pages, hotspot. As a matter of fact, when you go and submit your piece of information in Twitter or Facebook page, business page, and you put the URL there, it asks you some information about, are you a business, where are you located, stuff like that. It's as if it's a directory, right? You can have a third-party page links, so you can go and write blogs, or you can share information on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and people will come and click. You can also go to different pulses, write with some other people's blogs, and create traffic back. When we talk about attract lead, you can attract lead by generating leads through landing pages or landing forms, or through visiting IPs through Pixel plugins. You can also sell, and if you want to sell, you can use an e-commerce package where you can connect it, you can list products or events. You can have a merchant account like PayPal, Stripe, Shopify. You will care about shipping, which is email. You can ship back by email, that's right, if you sell an ebook or soft documents, right, or a ticket. You can have UPS, you can have Notify, you can have here eBay, Amazon, WooCommerce, Shopify, Eventbrite, Infusionsoft. Make sense? Delivery platforms, you can run a membership or an LMS. Membership, it can connect through to your CRM, or it can be actually storing inside WordPress, because WordPress will store roles. So you can have a subscriber, you can have an author, you can have an editor, you can have a admin. There is other roles there, and you can have plugin to expand these roles, so your visitors can subscribe to these roles. And then if you want to use it as a communication, you can install forums, you can build blogs with feedback, and you can build surveys. That's right. If you want to create as inventory, you can always store this data. And Mike will come and say, so why you don't do this on Google Drive and different ones? I would just say maximize your presence in all of this, because some of them will shut down, some of them will get hacked, some of them can lose data. I lost my website a couple of times, at least over the years, because it got hacked, especially in the early 2000s. It got hacked, and then we lost all the data. So we have to rebuild again. And particularly when we used to host it at the university. 20 years ago, there was no cloud, there was no GoDaddy, there was none of these people. We used to, I take advantage being at the university, because the university has this online hosting. That's right, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, like people now, they look at different things. Any questions so far? So the question back to you guys now is, what is the thing which, or the most part of this 2 hours you stick in your eye in front of you, and how will you apply it? Start with, yes sir?
The relationship between the host, the domain, and plugins, features, themes is now clear. It's very clear. Now, when it comes to making any decision, I would have to see how this fit into the whole structure, and try to find the return on investment. Is it worth it to do it now? Is it through a third party? By myself, or maybe postpone it for some time later, because it's not the foundation. It's a feature. I can add more windows, I can add a ballot, I do whatever I want, right? Now it's clear what I want to do. So I think this got to be reflected on my priorities.
Okay.
On what to use now for
And what's clear to me is I will never ask you first, because you are a quality decision making guy. So. That's right. Did you feel what he's saying?
Yeah, I did.
We talk about decisions and quality and priority. Okay.
Sorry.
Mariana, it's okay. Mariana, what stand out for you, and how will you apply?
And I'm overwhelmed.
I know this topic is not the topic which is an average business owner without technical experience. Like I was speaking to somebody the other day, and he said, because I'm very technical savvy, this stuff for me are simple. But people outside there, they charge lots, and I do it, and I don't charge for it because it doesn't make any sense. But people out there, they take one of it, and they charge lots of money for it, because people out there are not in this thing. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to make these skills as a simple to you guys to be able to understand it, and to overcome the overwhelming is by recirculating it in a different context, so you guys can grasp, because it's not too complicated as it seems at the front. However, because your life is different in different directions, you have never been exposed to this knowledge. So what did you take?
Well, I realized I have to update, and definitely you have to really start working on that landing page. Just.
Okay. Mike.
A lot of reinforcement today on the advantages of doing things and the justification behind certain things. Like, for example, apriltaxsolutions.com. It might be long, but I also have the .ca version. So if someone puts in the wrong extension, they'll automatically pop to the same site, right? So I don't lose it. Otherwise, a competition come up and grab AprilTaxSolutions.ca, and you know, it could steal my business because it goes to his. He's got the domain, and he throws it to H&R Block or something like that, right? So that's why it's important that you also think of what they might mistype .com versus .ca. So being Canadian, I'd probably want a .ca site, but being .com, I cover both the bases off.
And I will share with you after the break. I will share with you why you must have the Canadian one. You'll be surprised with why you must have the Canadian one. If you are in Canada, you must have the Canadian one. If you are in the US, you must have the .us. I will share with you this in.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
So-
other thing too is it helps me think up names, like names for my program, like for URLs. So I have, as I was putting together my course and stuff like that, one of the names I grabbed, which was available, was called Your Profit Program, right? Because I want to teach business owners how to make profits. So that's specifically for the program. It's not necessarily to be advertised to everybody. Those people who join my program, that's probably the link I'm going to use to go there.
Which is another thing. We'll talk about it in later today, because today is about strategy. I only teach you strategy. I don't teach you anything. Like on Saturdays, we can do websites offline. When we get one-on-one, we can do website. We can do technical. But here is the strategy. So, in the second and after the break, we'll talk about how many live website you will need to have. Is it one, or as Samantha was saying, you don't need a website. You can do it on Facebook, or more than one. So we will talk about this.
Yeah.
But this is good thing. What else?
Or you can drop URLs too, like from what I see some of my colleagues that have URLs for landing pages.
Yep.
So like one of the ones I recently picked up, which I'm pretty excited about, is called The Tax Surgeon.
Cool.
So now, and because I'm looking for names that are catchy, which are distinctive,
Cool.
but not everybody's using it. Who's going to remember April Tax Solutions? But if I stand on the stage and I'm talking about taxes and tips and tricks and say, oh, you can find me at thetaxsurgeon.com.
So the taxsurgeon.com, away from the difficulties I personally have to spell surgeon. Anyway, it's my problem, not yours. The beauty of this is you can come and say that the Tax Surgeon book. This is the title of a book. Tax Surgeon will be the name of the program. You can have what they used to call it a long time ago, the pen names. You know, people used to have pen names.
Yeah.
They don't use their names as writer and authors. So if you have a pen names, or you have a representation of a different name, you can actually drive the whole program based on this, which will make sense to people. So if you are a tax surgeon, giving them advices, and guess what? If people ask, okay, so where can I go? Oh, you have my firm. You have April Tax Solution, my firm. You can come to it. So this kind of marketing business strategies can be implemented. That's why people will spend lots of time. Oh, I want to have this business. I want to have this URL nailed down because I want to just get one and the only one. I feel sorry for them.
So the tax surgeon could be just a link right now
It's
for
very catchy.
a landing page, right? It could be a landing page.
A landing page.
And then you go, if you want to find more information, April Tax Solutions, and then the hyperlink takes them to the main website, so they can find out more about who we are behind the scenes.
Or the tax surgeon can be a landing page to download specific email, ebook or whatever,
Right.
and then appoint them into a phone call or a discovery call. So you say to book a discovery call on how we can apply our surgeon concepts to your tax. Here is the phone call. And all what they need to do is they book the phone call, because you will know the phone call is coming from tax surgeon
Yeah.
when you call in and say, "Hi, what can I help you with?" And when you find meaning to introduce them to April Tax Solution, you can do it. So it doesn't matter what the strategy you will apply. What matters is you are beyond the one URL and one URL only. Make sense?
So I have a .com, but so I really should have the .ca.
I will share with you after. I wanna break for lunch now because otherwise we cannot start at 1. So I want to break for lunch now, and I will share with you why in the next part. Make sense?
Yeah.
Sure does.
You're going out for lunch?
Yeah, I think it will.
Okay, so let's meet at 1.
You're going there? Or?
No, I'm gonna do something else. I was thinking maybe.
Copyright 2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited, unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.